Hello guys! Well, reading newspaper is a bit boring game, right? So we at SauYO has thought of making it a bit simpler for you. Hence I will analyze The Hindu for you and will then discuss the importance of the topic from examinations and group discussions point of view. So here we go with the first news of 25th April 2018. Titled, Decision to Reject Motion, Timely and Not Hasty. Context. Motion has been introduced in Rajya Sabha for the impeachment of Chief Justice of India, but the chairperson of Rajya Sabha, that is the Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, has rejected it. Now the question that emerges is whether the presiding officer of Rajya Sabha has the power and authority of law to do so. Few points that I would like to bring to your notice that will help us in analyzing the above statement, and these includes number 1. Article 124, Clause 4 of the Constitution states that the proved misbehavior or incapacity can be the reason for removal of a judge from the office. Misbehavior or incapacity needs to be ascertained by a committee constituted by presiding officer consisting of Judge of Supreme Court, Chief Justice of High Court and an eminent jurist. So the question that emerges is, can the presiding officer reject a motion without sending it to the committee for its scrutiny? Second, after receiving the scrutiny report of the committee, what is the exact procedure which is to be followed? To answer the above question, I would like to draw your attention to a judgment titled Krishnaswamy versus Union of India, which held that the independence of judiciary needs to be ensured, and for this, the presiding officer of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha has to act with utmost care while deciding on the question of impeachment, because that would directly have an impact on judicial independence. Supreme Court has held that the presiding officer is a man of utmost responsibility whose decision has to be backed by reason and rationality. So as per the judgment, it can be derived that the admission or rejection of a proposal is actually the discretion of the presiding officer. Now the debatable issue which emerges is about the judiciary and how it has come under the political cloud and what can be the ways to ensure judicial independence. Guys, well, you can post your answer to our email ID, that is sauyo.in@gmail.com, and you will soon get review to your answers by our expert faculty. Now the next article that I am going to discuss is titled Master of the Next Steps. Context. Power of CJI. In a recent instance, CJI has declared himself to be the master of the rooster, and 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court held a press conference and expressed their grievance to the nation. Now the definition of the state that is given in Article 12 of the Constitution does not include judiciary within it. However, we have to draw a distinction between the administrative and judicial function of the court. So, if CJI, that is Chief Justice of India, acts in administrative capacity, he or she will come under the definition of the state, and their actions shall be subject to fundamental rights, including the right to equality. Now guys, I would like to draw your attention to one important case, that is Minka Ghandi case, which draws light to the idea of due process of law and principles of natural justice. And this holds that a person cannot be a judge in his own case, because it is a violation of the principle of natural justice if the CJI, the master of the rooster, becomes a judge in his own case. And if this is the case, then it is the violation of the principle of natural justice, and it implies that the idea of arbitrariness of law has been central to it. And if this is the case, then it is violative of right to equality as has been held by Supreme Court. So, if the action of the CJI is arbitrary, then that needs to be questioned to uphold the idea and the principle of natural justice and due process of law. Guys, now I would like to discuss some of the reforms which are needed. Now, since CJI acts as a symbol of entire judiciary and hence the institutional reforms has to be introduced so as to allow a system of check and balance over the authority of judiciary and judicial heads. As in, a system can come to the force that mandates the CJI to consult the colleagues on important decisions and discussions. Since the two articles that we have discussed deals with the idea of judiciary and judicial independence, I would here like to draw your attention to the recent news of Justice Gogoi and Justice Locker calling for full court discussion on Supreme Court's future and institutional issues pertaining to judiciary. Now, the debatable issues that emerges is judicial accountability and the need for judicial reforms. Second topic is need to ensure cooperative constitutionalism and ways to do it. Now, the next article that we are going to discuss is the dragons beckons again. There has been an informal meet between India and China with no preset agenda. It means that India and China are to redefine their relation and respective role to be played in future, which is marked by changing and uncertain global order. India and China have certain differences, which includes border disputes, trade imbalance, India's concern over China-Pakistan bilateral relations, and China's activity in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and CPEC, and China's reluctance to allow India's entry to NSG, that is Nuclear Supplier Group, and UN permanent membership to Security Council, and other issue includes BRI, that is Belt and Road Initiative, and String of Pearls theory. Though there exist many differences between India and China, but both are important players in building the Neo-Asian century and hence have again come together to give a message to the global community about their cooperation. Now, the concern of India includes the need to settle the border disputes between India and China. Second, to build a Neo-Asian century and India's role in it. The China's concern includes number 1, China's economic competitiveness has been perceived as a long-term threat by US and US wants to limit it. Second, China's concern over growing relation between USA and India being given an important role in USA's national security strategy. Third, China's straining relation with the ASEAN. Now, the debatable topics includes how the dialogue mechanisms between India and China can help in promoting economic and social linkages between the two nations. Now, the next topic or an article that we are going to discuss is titled as Nabbing Absconders. Context: the Fugitives Economic Offenders Ordinance 2018. To deal with the idea of economic fugitives, government has introduced the provision to confiscate the property of the fugitives and also the property of the benami. However, the question emerges is, how can government prove that B is the benami of A when A is not in the country? The positive step to address the problem of economic offenders in the country and the ordinance will re-establish the rule of the law pertaining to fugitive offenders. The debatable issues includes Fugitive Economic Offenders Ordinance and its relevance. Next article that we are going to discuss is Iran nuclear deal. Trump's unilateral move to scrap the nuclear deal, which was framed during the Obama regime. This move of scrapping the deal may result in Iran moving out of NPT, that is Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, and if this happens, then many countries will follow the suit. Debatable points includes how scrapping of the deal will act as a setback to rules-based multilateral mechanisms and US diplomacy as well. Again guys, I would like to mention that you can post your answer to all the issues that we have discussed to our email ID, that is sauyo.in@gmail.com. That's all for today and I'll be back with my next audio. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you. gmail.com. That's all for today, and I'll be back with my next audio. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.